Listen, I think there is always a pro-Second Amendment argument. As a matter of fact, I have never seen an argument to take away the Second Amendment or to pass more gun control. The reality is murder is legal, and there is already plenty of gun control in place. Every single time we see these shootings happen, there's so much more to the story. We want to know what kind of drug abuse is going on with that person. What kind of psychotropic medications are they on, and are those making an effect, as well as what is their home life like, and what are their parents doing? The other questions are, where do they get these guns, and why weren't the checks and balances that are already legal, why didn't they stop it? But the real reality is schools are gun-free zones, and many places are gun-free zones, and that leaves every single person unsafe because you can't defend yourself.
No, Marge, murder is not legal. And if you do just a quick Google search, you will see that gun-free zones have less gun violence and overall violence than other zones. Just a simple fact. But it's interesting how individuals like Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene will look for every other angle rather than a policy angle. What kind of household did they come from? What did the parents do? All right, what kind of drugs were they on? All right, here's the reality, Congresswoman. The reason why you want us to focus on these other elements is because you don't have to move, you don't have to work. You don't have to create policy to deal with a family issue. You don't have to be thoughtful about policy to deal with an issue inside of the home. You can just talk about it. But when we actually get to a place of policy, for example, a gunman being able to get his hands on a weapon where his daddy had to sign for it because he was 18, that's a policy issue. That can be solved by a policy remedy, meaning lawmakers have to come to the table and admit they were wrong. This was a bad policy, even though they said if mama or daddy signs off on it, it's okay for the 18-year-old to have this weapon. Bad policy. It's hypocritical to say, on one hand, we know the 18-year-old should not have this gun, but let's make a way for them to have it no matter what. Ridiculous. All right, Ms. Frank, thoughts on Marjorie Taylor Greene?
I just want her to sit down with the families of the victims of gun violence and say that murder is legal. We covered a story earlier in this segment when this Miss Jones, college freshman who was shot and killed by her professor, or by a professor from the school that she went to. Was that murder legal, Marjorie? And so it's just again, trying to find any angle to not really address the core issue at hand. The fact that is that we have too many guns in this country. There's not enough policy decisions, like you were saying, that actually protect the lives of Americans. And instead of actually addressing that, you want to say murder is legal. Makes no sense whatsoever. I know why she's a congresswoman, but I just don't really understand it. It's frustrating and it just blows my freaking mind.
Well, obviously Marjorie Taylor Greene is for the purge. We'll continue to follow this congresswoman because she obviously is dangerous.